Hi, this is Ralph Zuranski, and I'm on the phone with Craig Perrine. He's one of the pioneers in Internet copywriting and building and marketing to mailing lists. He's considered somewhat of a maverick in the Internet industry and marketing, and has developed quite a unique process of building huge mailing lists that are responsive, that you continue to sell products to over and over again. How are you doing today, Craig?
I'm doing fantastic, Ralph. Great talking with you.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking your valuable time to answer some of the heroes' questions, because I know you're incredibly busy with all the things that you're doing.
Well, listen, I really appreciate the opportunity. I love what you're doing. So.
Well, thanks.
It's great.
And I know you're one of the first people to volunteer to help with the program almost 2 years ago, when I first met you on the Internet speaking circuit, and was impressed with the information that you had about building lists. So, how do you experience service to others as a source of joy?
Well, Ralph, I learned a long time ago that, kind of the hard way, that material things and experiences and things you do for yourself, you know, they come and go, and they don't really last. But for me, the feelings that I get and the memories, really, that I keep when I know I've been of service to others, friends or customers or family, that's really priceless, and it makes you really just feel a deeper level of satisfaction. So, I guess that is kind of in it for me, I feel better when I'm serving others.
Yeah.
But I also find that I am very passionate about helping others, and when I'm involved in a project that is purely just for personal gain, I don't have nearly the charge or the passion that when I'm coaching or helping someone else. So, one of the neat things is that you really can help yourself by serving others, if you want to look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you make your life about serving others, and then there's really nothing that you can't achieve. Because what happens that I really have found in my life is that other people, in the universe, I think in general, reciprocates when you are serving. So it seems like the right way to live on many levels. And again, for me, I know that it's helped my sense of self-esteem and the way I feel about myself, when I serve others. Because on a core level, I think we all know what's good, and when we're being of value in the world. So knowing that you're living that kind of way and helping people makes you just feel better about yourself.
Yeah. Well, everybody experiences doubts and fears in just about everything that they do on a daily basis. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of disease, fear of catastrophes. How do you overcome your doubts and fears? Because I know you're involved in a lot of major projects, and you've had some major health challenges in your family recently.
Yes. Well, and that's a good question, because, really that's what holds us all back is our fears and doubts. And, well, first of all, I've had a lot of help. I've had a lot of friends and family and mentors who have reached out and really helped me. And that really has been an external force that has helped me. And that, by the way, I think that comes from serving others.
Mm-hmm.
I've sort of attracted that help. But one of the things I will credit right away is that when I was about 15, I went to a summer camp that my father encouraged me to go to, and it was Tony Robbins was there, actually, as one of the guest speakers. And it was really all about overcoming obstacles, and we did ropes courses. We did all sorts of things to teach us that, breaking boards and, stuff that would give you a mindset that anything was really possible. And it didn't, instantly change my life completely. I definitely went through a long period where I had to internalize what I learned. But, over time, I learned that when I really go for something, when I'm very clear about what I want and perhaps even a little obsessed about it, I make it happen. And that doesn't really match up. Internally, I still had doubts and fears. And sometimes it was kind of a scary process to go for goals. But the thing is that one of the great things about life is if you do what you fear, the money and success and health and other things that you're trying to achieve will naturally follow. A lot of folks want to do what they love, and that's great. And overall, you should be striving for what you love. But part of getting what you love and your passion will be moving through fears. That's kind of going to be the cutting edge of of your success is how much you can break through your barriers of what you're afraid of. Because the neat thing is, on the other side of that, you realize that it's not as bad as you feared it would be. And that the key thing about heroes, and this is certainly true of the other folks you've interviewed, and I've been watching what you're doing. These are people who all had fears too, in doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And heroes, I forget who said this. I'd love to attribute it to somebody, but the difference between a hero and other people is that they'll be afraid and they'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's not that I had this belief when I was younger that heroes and all these people, who were stars or whatever, that they weren't afraid. That's why they were successful, because they weren't afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And that when I wasn't afraid, then I would have arrived. But it's not the case. In fact, you'd be surprised getting to know people on a personal level that everyone has the same stuff.
Yeah.
So the more, I think, to answer your question, the more you learn about how we're all the same, and we all have fears and hopes and desires, and as long as you see that there are patterns there, you can kind of get beyond that and kind of get out of your own head and say, okay, it's not all about me.
Yeah. Well, how important is it to maintain a sense of humor in the face of serious problems?
Oh my goodness, it's just, for me, it's my whole way of dealing with stuff. I just laugh. Now, I wish I could say that I always laugh from the first instant something bad happens, but I quickly turn to joking around or laughing about it. And there's some real, almost selfish reasons for doing that. It really helps you, because when you laugh about something, you're literally chemically activating the positive centers in your brain, like your happy chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
And if you laugh through things that scare you or make you angry, you're in a great position to achieve what you want. It's kind of what we were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
And since, in some ways, all humor is kind of negative, the slapstick comedies, or if you tell a joke, it's usually about something kind of negative that happens, and we laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can do that in your own life, really what you're doing is you're detaching from the pain or the anger or whatever you're not happy about,
mm-hmm.
and you're laughing. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of step outside and look at because, in the long run, you probably are going to, laugh about it. So you might as well get started sooner.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, from a possibilities point of view, if it's funny to you, or not funny as in this is the greatest thing that you're laughing about it, but you're able to laugh at something unfortunate in a genuine way, it also means that it's not so serious. And if your mind opens up to the possibilities of solutions and things that you can do to make it better, instead of getting, oh, this is serious, I really need to panic now, and, all that kind of jazz. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, don't laugh at other people's misfortunes. But if you can help them to laugh at, in a similar way, like if you remember, do you remember that movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams?
Sure.
Okay, well, he was a doctor, and I remember one scene where he dresses up like a clown, or I don't remember all the details, but he was playing with bedpans and doing all this stuff with terminally ill children who were, obviously didn't have a lot to laugh about. And so he was helping them laugh. He didn't walk in there and say, ha, look, you all guys are all in the hospital. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But he was able to do things that distracted them from their pain and made them laugh. And so what better way to deal with the crappy stuff that comes up in life than to be able to laugh at it? At least that way it didn't get you down,
Yeah. Well, sometimes people think that it takes a tremendous amount of courage to pursue new ideas. Everybody's afraid of failure, and some of the other heroes I've interviewed said that failure is a crucial part of being successful. What do you think about that?
Well, new ideas they're really the source of your greatest opportunities. If you already know it, well, that's not the same thing as if you're open to testing new ideas and see if they're valid for you. Because not all new ideas are great, But that process of testing and saying, okay, I got this idea, or I learned this new strategy or concept, this new way of looking at things, and if it works for you and improves your life, then you've added to your life and your mindset and who you are. Closed minds are, unfortunately, for me, whenever I've been resistant, I've always found that I've been locked into patterns or at a certain level of success, and you're unable to move because the new ideas, even if they technically fail or don't get you the result that you wanted, if you don't try them, if you're not into trying new things, then you miss out on all the other ones that do work out.
Mm-hmm.
And frequently, and I know that this is true for me, and the things that do work out often come after a series of what most people call failures.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just frame all that in your mind as a result instead of a failure, that's really the way to go. Because I read a book recently by Randy Gilbert called Success Bound, and he talks all about how you need to essentially succeed your way through failure.
Mm-hmm.
And the folks that really struggle the most with getting what they want are the ones who punish themselves the most when they don't succeed right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you this right now, is that the curse behind that is the sense that things need to be perfect, or that we need to be perfect, and that perfection is actually a worthy goal. When I think it's one of the cruelest things out there, because of how I believe the universe works, there is light and dark, there's duality, there's good and bad, there's things we don't like about our favorite things.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that something could be perfect in terms of 100% what we want is foolish. It's not even possible in my mind. Now, it doesn't mean you can't create excellence. I'm just saying perfection is where you say, okay, I don't dare to try something new because I don't want to make a mistake, because I want to be perfect. I don't want to ever be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? You'll never do anything if that's the way you look at life, because learning how to ride a bike or learning to read. I mean, I don't know anybody who picked up Shakespeare and started reading all those goofy words the right way the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you skipped Shakespeare because you didn't want to mispronounce anything, then guess what? You'd miss out on some really great stories.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, new ideas, sometimes, they rock your world. They scare the heck out of you. Man, I don't want to believe that. That changes everything I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you trust your intuition and you just know when you need to at least take a look at something. And that's why, you know what? Your Heroes program is so valuable, because you can get new ideas, even if they challenge you, from people who are genuinely working for the greater good of people and are heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can trust those kind of ideas a little better than someone who's obviously out to personally gain, maybe at your expense, from new idea.
Yeah, well, who are the heroes in your life?
Well, you've got a lot of them in your series, I'll tell you that much. I have some really close friends, so I've already heard the interviews you've done. Mm-hmm. And just a couple I'll mention: David Garfinkel, Michael Fortin, Joe Vitale. But seriously, the list is really much too long to even mention here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in some ways because I really see a hero in all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because I choose people to be around me who are creating and building to help make life better for people. They're often entrepreneurs or authors or artists or even any sphere of life. Let's say that they're really working at becoming the best mother or the best father that they can be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, that's a hero, and I've learned a ton from folks who otherwise you would say, well, there's nothing particularly special about them, but there is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say that in my life, I have been so blessed with teachers and parents and friends particularly friends of my family, who have been great role models and have guided me through some pretty tough times. I went through a lot of tough stuff with a divorce in my family and a lot of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And friends and family were really what got me through all that.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I absorbed so much of what's worked for me from my heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, a hero is someone that teaches, about possibility and unlimited, the human potential that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
People who overcome challenges and create real value for others in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's a hero. It's not really about money or success or sports or anything like that. Although I do admire, achievement and excellence. So if it's money or sports, great.
Mm-hmm.
But really has more to do with their heart and their intention,
mm-hmm.
and the fact that they are. I think I just really like people who are trying to do the best they can in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think there's any heroes in the society that aren't getting the recognition that they deserve?
Well, that would absolutely be the case. I think that, well, first of all, a group that's often bashed is entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
In Hollywood, unfortunately, you'll see it's always the greedy businessman that caused the environmental toxic spill, and that's what business is about, is making profits at the expense of the good guys in the story. And I'm not going to deny that there are people out there doing things with their money and power that are not for the greatest good. But there are also tons of folks who are, broke, running around robbing, stealing, and killing people. So there are also wealthy people robbing, stealing, and killing people. I just think that's a people thing. If you're a person who does that kind of stuff, how much money you have or what you do is not really the point. But entrepreneurs, as a group of people, in general, make their money when they solve problems and when they help people. So I think that's just a tremendous misunderstanding that I really would, if I could wish something, I wish that we would be more enlightened about that. Because we need more entrepreneurs and small business people who are the engine of the economy and employment and helping people achieve their dreams. Of course, I think a lot of folks recognize that teachers are very important and are heroes. I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks are not allowed to really blossom in the school teaching environment. But the fact that they are dedicating their lives one way or the other, I think, is crucial. And you name it, spiritual leaders. I've learned a lot from as I've become more spiritual in my life. And I think anybody in the creative sphere of life is just tremendously undervalued in many ways. Artists and writers and so forth often struggle with pursuing their craft, but they add so much to our lives. So really, I think anybody who is quietly going about their business, adding to the world, I think they're really a hero, and it often does go really unnoticed. It's the reason to do good is not to get a pat on the back.
Well, why are heroes so important in the lives of young people?
Well, the bottom line there is that young people have, they are essentially the seeds of the next generation. And we need leaders and heroes and role models, essentially, to show them what works and what's good, what adds to life, and what detracts. I mean, they're forming their beliefs, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that beliefs really guide everything that you do in life, because it determines the decisions you make and how you feel about what happens in your life. So if you can have heroes and role models that guide you, it's like a GPS system, guiding you to happiness as opposed to frustration and pain. There are plenty of anti-heroes out there who want you to follow their bandwagon, take drugs or listen to this music that's really self-destructive and angry. I never would have said this as a teenager, but I get it now that a lot of that stuff that just gets you all pumped full of anger and anxiety makes you feel like, oh, I'm a victim, I don't have what this guy has, or I'm this color, or I'm that race, or, I'm that religion, or everybody hates me, or, if you focus on that stuff, gosh, that's a bitter harvest when you get on the other side of it, because you realize that by taking on the flag of being a victim and not following heroes who are shrugging off anything that gets in their way and moving forward, you're really resigning yourself to the limitations that people hand you. So, in my mind, when kids can have role models, and that's got to be my favorite thing about what you're doing here, is that you're pulling together people who you've often very generously, you've seen the excellence in somebody, or you've seen the hero in somebody, often I think, more clearly than they do. And you're pulling these together with the express purpose of adding that to the lives of young people. And someone ought to interview you, my friend, because this is the information age, and you're adding information out there and an awareness to people who may not have any idea of what a hero might look like to them, or they may have just gone through something where they doubt that anything is possible. And I can tell you from, some of the paths I've gone down in life and some of the bumps I've gotten, I often felt that way myself. I would sit down with anybody and share stories. But I've learned from people who wouldn't give up on me and people who just set a good example. So there really is nothing more important for kids than role models and heroes because they're going to be the heroes of the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
That's what builds our world. So
yeah,
you're doing an invaluable thing here, Ralph.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do it without all the help of the heroes I found on the internet and also in alternative medicine. Figure if young people can learn how to be successful in business and help their local businesses, their local entrepreneurs, that the world can be a better place almost instantly.
Yes.
If you get everybody working together, I have to tell you, I'm so sick of conventional media and all the bad news and everybody saying bad things about others. Somebody told me one time, if you can't say anything good about somebody, don't say anything.
Right. Oh, we wouldn't have our major 3 networks then, would we?
No, that's true.
But the thing is, I think already, the world is a lot better place than people give credit for, especially in the media.
Yep.
Our popular awareness is great to complain about things, but we have such abundance and such amazing opportunities to do things like what you're doing that simply would have been a whole lot different 30 years ago, 100 years ago. And one of the things, Ralph, that I find so damaging in life for someone is a belief system that really doesn't work, and I've done it, I've seen it, and whenever I see it popping up, you got to shift your thinking because I don't know if it's a cultural thing or where it comes from, but it's so easy to look at what you don't have or what's not working and define your feelings about how happy you are or how successful you are by what is not working. So if you say, well, there's a war going on, or this pollution is here in this spot, or this political thing's going on, or gosh, I'm 20 pounds overweight, you can focus. There's always something you don't have. There's always something that's not working.
Yeah.
But my goodness, if you just looked at what you do have, if you can be happy with what you have, then you're instantly happy because look at what you have. Do you have a roof over your head? Even if you don't, you're alive. There's always a way to look at it, and what's the harm in looking at it in a positive light instead of saying, gosh, I got so much to just be angry about.
Well, do you think that people have lost the feeling of gratefulness, being grateful for what they have?
I think that we are indoctrinated from a very early age to look at what we don't have and to wish for, make up a list of toys you want or look at what the other kid has. Or I don't think we celebrate enough in a way that seems reasonable and cool, to the kids that look at what you have. You may not have that snazzy, red jacket that the other kid has, but you have a jacket, and you know what? You have the potential to go get that red jacket if you want to do what it takes to go make it happen. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
But the thing about that I've learned that I totally did not believe when I was half my age. I'm 36 now, so when I was a teenager, I really didn't quite get this, that you won't get any more if you're not grateful for what you have. It really just seems to work that way, that if you're not grateful for the income or the health or whatever you have, there's a way in which you complain and you seem to, you want to match that belief system. You want to say, okay, my life sucks, and I'm going to keep making that true because that's what I believe. And you're going to look at things in such a way so you can keep being right and say, look, it's not my fault, my life sucks. And so you'll keep getting the health results, you'll keep getting the financial results, the relationship results, because, again, remember the beliefs. I really think that that's so key. If you can teach someone at a young age, anything's possible. But yes, you are responsible for what you get, even the things that seem completely unfair and have nothing to do with you. They kind of do.
Yeah.
And it's not a blame thing. It's just, if you're not responsible and you're not going to take any action, well, who's going to?
Well, how important do you feel that people need to realize that they're going to experience discomfort in the pursuit of their dreams?
I think you just ought to accept it. Now, I want to be real careful with that answer, Ralph, because a lot of people expect to struggle to get what they want. I'm not saying you have to struggle or that it has to be hard. You can really have, quite what I call easy miracles. In fact, I have a website that is all about easy miracles. I'm fascinated with that, just manifesting what you want. It can be a lot easier than you believe, but I also believe that at times in our life, we will be tested, and we will have to acquire new skills and new relationships and new ways of thinking to evolve to a higher level. And that does involve some discomfort, because comfort is like static. It's like you are where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to change, if you want something different, a different result or a different feeling, you may have to, I believe, do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it may challenge your existing belief system. It may make you feel insecure. It may make you feel terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And I've absolutely had to learn how to just kind of do it anyway and understand that the discomfort really doesn't have to be such a big deal. And in fact, you can, there's a certain, like when you're working out or if you exercise, if you think about it back to when you were a kid, you know, and you were riding your bike or if you're playing on the swing, technically, you know, your muscles kind of get a little sore even when you're playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're playing,
mm-hmm.
and you feel alive. It's really when you get into habits where you're, you know, you stop exercising altogether,
mm-hmm.
then, it's uncomfortable, you start aching.
Mm-hmm.
But all that stuff, for me, with just by doing something and moving forward something that you're passionate about, you move through that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest curse, though, is to always try to be comfortable and never face any fear or discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
I swear you'll never get anywhere in life if that's what your priority is.
You know, a lot of the heroes have talked about the people that you surround yourself with, that most people are sort of locked in their own paradigm and they're anxious if anybody in their peer group makes any dramatic changes. How important do you think it is to surround yourself with people that support you in what you want to do and aren't threatened by changes that you make?
I think that you're going to have to face a reality in life, is that some people that you care about are going to be threatened if you make your life better. And you may not have anybody around you right now that supports you in what you want to do. Okay, that may be kind of like the worst case scenario. On the other hand, you need to surround yourself either through books or the media or listening to teleseminars like this or by attracting new friends or nurturing those that you have. I believe there is no greater way to get on a path of self-improvement than to surround yourself with people who are where you want to be, or at a minimum, who support where you want to go. Mm-hmm. Because, and also you got to just say, if anyone, well, first of all, if you're passionate about something and you know that you're doing something that is good for you and doesn't harm anybody else, and it's your dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if someone really is raining on that and saying, you know, you need to stay where you are and don't get too sure of yourself, don't go for that, just stay like us. Well, they don't have a right to tell you that, and you don't have an obligation to listen to it. You know, you can always just say, look, I know in my heart that what I'm doing is right. I'm pushing through some fears and some obstacles. I'm going to make it happen. And you can always find new friends. And your family, you know, often is a big challenge. Sometimes it's family members that are the biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to know that you're doing what's right, because if there are changes in your life and the people that are in your life that, you know, at one time you might have considered unimaginable, and at least you know if you are on the right path, then it's, you know, it's meant to be that way.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and, you know.
Well, it's interesting that you'd say to find people that can inspire you, and if they're not available in your life or your local community, to seek them out in books. I know Ted Nicholas and Carl Galletti are real strong believers in reading the lives of heroes and just people that have done great things and all the challenges that they've been through. Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to watch TV, watch the History Channel, watch biography, watch things that inspire. Watch movies like Rudy or I love sports movies. I didn't play a whole lot of sports. I mean, I played some, but I love sports movies because they just have that lesson all wrapped up in 2 hours, you know,
mm-hmm.
of going for something, of doing more than you thought you could. And if you can study the folks who have achieved, especially what you want to achieve, but don't limit yourself to that. Really read about all kinds of human achievement and success.
Mm-hmm.
Because whether it's a health breakthrough or whether it's financial or whether it's a relationship thing or healing animals or training, you know, who cares what it is? All human experience comes down to excellence. You can create wonderful results. And if you learn from people who have, I really encourage you, because I teach Maverick marketing, and that's why my site Maverick Marketer I'm so passionate about it, because one of the things you get when you're trying to market your business is you get the opportunity to define yourself and come up with ideas. And the more you fed your brain of things that worked or inspiring things, the more you feed your brain, the more great ideas you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you surround yourself with people, I mean, you are a phone connection away from the internet. You know, whether it's at your public library, your school, or wherever it is, get on the internet and focus on information.
Mm-hmm.
I just found out the other day that they're having a hard time giving away encyclopedias these days because everyone just gets on the internet and it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go to about.com, go to Google and search for whatever you want, and you will find the answers. That's the beauty. That is the liberating thing about our age, is that there is whatever information you need, whatever's missing that you don't know, is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that you need are out there, and there are people that have for centuries come before you that have faced, in essence, the same problems you have.
Yeah.
You know, and all you need, this is why the heroes thing is so important, all you need to believe sometimes is to see that someone else did something and overcame greater odds than you, because then you know, okay, you know, it's just a matter of sticking with it.
Yeah, so you believe that it's important to believe that your dreams will become reality?
Yeah, and you know what? You're gonna doubt them sometimes. It might seem impossible, but if you believe, you will take different actions than if you don't believe. I mean, I love to talk about things on a very practical level. If you believe, even if ultimately, I mean, here's the dirty little secret, even if ultimately that particular dream never came true, you're still better off believing than saying, I can't ever make anything happen. That's not going to, you know. And the odds are that if the dream doesn't happen, it's because you replaced it with a bigger or better one. And, you know, trying to avoid any setback or any disappointment or, you know, it's like, just think of it like a child, a really young child. Maybe their dream that day is to get a big ice cream cone, right? And that's all they can think about is ice cream, right?
Yeah.
Well, the next day, maybe they'll go to a birthday party and have cake. You know, maybe they'll get something in return that satisfies what they wanted, but in a different way than what they expected. And so you got to be kind of open to that. But basically, you got to believe that you can strive and achieve what you want to create, whether that's a beautiful painting or you want to be a writer, or if you want to be a mathematician or an engineer or anything you want to be, a dancer. It doesn't matter if you change your mind. It doesn't matter if you change your plan. You've got to believe that it will happen. And the greatest news I can give you is that stuff happens that I can only describe as miracles. That if you have no idea how you're going to achieve what you're going to do, it doesn't matter. Believe anyway, and I guarantee you'll be amazed at the things that line up to make it happen for you. It's just stunning to me, as someone, believe me, who used to be very cynical and not believe in anything, that over the years I have learned, just by witnessing, that amazing things can happen for no apparent logical reason. And whether you believe in a higher power or whether you just believe in luck or whatever works for you, just believe. Because the worst thing in the world is not believing anything, because you really can't create, you can't solve problems. You know, how would the airplane have been invented if nobody believed? How would anything that we take for granted now have happened if nobody believed? People not believing don't create anything. They're the ones who sit in line and wait for everything, because the people at the front of the line are the ones doing it. So I get real passionate about the whole belief thing. And be careful what you do believe. Be real careful what you believe. Because if you believe stuff that's essentially, make it simple. If you believe stuff that makes you feel bad or look bad about at yourself, that doesn't help you. Whatever makes you feel bad, look for some other way to feel about it. And learn, you know, why do I believe that? Or look at something in your life. You know, let's say you're overweight. Why are you overweight? You know, is it because you're a bad person? No. You probably just believe stuff about how you live your life that is creating that result. Great. Don't take it personally. Just understand if you changed your belief, it would change your behavior, and that would change your result.
You think
take it real unemotionally. Just but be real careful about your beliefs, because they do determine where you go.
You think it's important to surround yourself with people that believe that you can accomplish your dreams?
It's the greatest shortcut I know. Because if they essentially, especially if they're role models, the ideal is when they have done it too, you know, or they've done something similar, or it doesn't matter. The fact is, it's like a shortcut because you tap into their belief and their knowledge and their experience and their guidance, and that is all the stuff you didn't have to learn the hard way yourself. By living like that, let's think of it in terms of leapfrogging or standing on the shoulders of the people that came before you. It's really how our entire society is structured. We're born not knowing anything. We're a clean slate, you know?
Yeah.
We have very few automatic reflexes. Very few. Everything else is learned. We're pretty helpless, right? So our whole purpose in our society, since we don't come with everything that the previous generation knew, we don't have a lot of instinct, we're designed to learn. Well, what would you want to learn? Do you want to learn the latest and greatest and best and most functional of what the past generation knew, or do you want to learn it all over again and fight with everything? No, stand on their shoulders, learn from them, trust, that they know something that you don't, learn it, and then your job is to do the same thing with the next generation as you get older. And if you're young and you're listening to this, and if you can just grasp that one concept, that people ahead of you in age have experienced more than you have. And if you can benefit from their lessons, you can make your life easier and more. Then you can give more because you have more effort that you can put towards that instead of struggle.
Well, that's really a profound thought. I really appreciate your time, Craig. And do you have one parting thought for the young people before you go?
I think the most important thing that we've covered here today is that anything is possible, and you can look to heroes to prove that to yourself. They're out there. There are people that, whether you have never met a nice person in your life and everyone is just hateful and mean, there are people out there that want nothing more than to help you and see you get, your dreams. If you haven't met them yet, you just need to meet new people. And they can be in books, they can be in the movies, they can be... But watch what you feed your brain. Don't watch any more horror movies. Don't watch any more sad stories. Don't listen to music about hating yourself. All that stuff will do is make you feel that way.
Boy, that's so true, isn't it?
I haven't watched a horror movie in years. Once I realized that those films were playing in my imagination, I said, hey, this isn't entertainment. This is stupid. Sorry, Freddy Krueger and all you guys. I don't want to imagine people suffering. I want to focus on feeling and getting what I would love to feel good about in life. So that's it. Feed your brain stuff that makes you feel good and helps you create and help others. And study your heroes because they're the ones who've done it, and that will be your fastest way to get where you want to go.
That's great information from the Maverick Marketer.
Thanks, Ralph.
I have to take a look at your site and see what's there. It sounds fascinating. Well, again, I really appreciate your time, Craig, and just the information that you shared is invaluable for young people.
Well, thank you so much, Ralph, and I can't stress enough that what you're doing here is a life-changing thing, and I'm so grateful that you are in the world doing it. Well,
I have to say that it has its own rewards. I'm so inspired by doing the interviews and listening to what the heroes have to say. It's got me pumped up.
That's how, you know what? That's how it works, man. That's how it works. If you're positive and you surround yourself, see what you just said?
Yeah.
You get pumped up. You feel better. You take action. Things happen.
Boy, it's so true.
That's the lesson of all of this.
Yeah.
You focus on that and you feel great. You focus on problems and you feel that. So, which do you want to focus on?
I want to focus on the good. So
That's
thanks
right.
again, Craig. I appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. All the best, man.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.